Reyna Avilla Ramirez-Arellano is a character from the Heroes of Olympus and Trials of Apollo, and in this video, I'll share and explain her life in the events of the Trials of Apollo. As always, spoiler warning, and with that, let's get started. After the events of the Blood of Olympus, not that much is known about Reyna, but we do know that she and the Romans received a parchment scroll from a Greek demigod named Valdez, who told them that he was alive. This also reached Camp Half-Blood, and both the Greeks and the Romans were glad that Leo was alright. And now, let's go to the Hidden Oracle, the first book in the Trials of Apollo series. Reyna doesn't appear here, but she is mentioned by a Greek demigod named Nico the Angelo. Nico tells Apollo where the Seven and Reyna were, and he said that Reyna was busy leading Camp Jupiter with Zhang. Reyna doesn't appear in the Dark Prophecy either, but she is mentioned by Leo. After receiving a prophecy that said that Camp Jupiter was going to be attacked, Leo volunteered to tell the camp beforehand. He thinks to himself that he'll meet the Romans soon, and how Reyna and the rest might react to his arrival. And now, let's go to the Burning Maze. Reyna is barely mentioned in this book, but we do know that Caligula and the Triumvirate attacked Camp Jupiter. The battle was pretty brutal, and the camp suffered a lot of losses, but Reyna was among the survivors. Reyna is mentioned again by a prophecy Apollo formed in the Burning Maze, with the prophecy forming the words Bellona's daughter. This referred to either Reyna or Hylla, who were both Bellona's daughters. Reyna finally makes an appearance in the Tyrant's tomb, so let's go there. Reyna and Frank held a funeral for Jason, and Reyna mourned his death. She held up a strong exterior for the Romans, but when she was alone, she cried herself to sleep in grief. During Jason's funeral, Lupa, the wolf goddess, attended, and she gave a quest to find Tarquin's tomb. The next day, Reyna and Frank held a Senate meeting that talks about the quest, and the day after that, Frank, Reyna, Apollo, and Meg talk about the Silent God, who was causing the communication issue between the two camps. Frank agrees to send them to the god, and Reyna, Apollo, and Meg drive there in a pickup truck. When they arrived, Reyna and Apollo talk privately. Ever since Apollo entered Camp Jupiter, he's been acting strange around Reyna, and Reyna confronted him about his behavior. Apollo then admits that he knows what Venus had told Reyna all those years ago in Charleston, and how he felt bad for her. On top of this, Apollo actually developed a crush on her, and he offered to be her boyfriend. Okay, side note, this scene gave me so much secondhand embarrassment, but anyway, Reyna started laughing at him. And I mean, she was laughing hysterically, but ultimately, she told him no. They then met Meg, and they climbed up Sutro Tower. While doing so, they were suddenly attacked by ravens, and Reyna uses her sword to cut them down. It was no use because there were too many of them, but somehow they managed to get out of there. They then met Harpocrates, the silent god I discussed earlier with Frank. Reyna gives Apollo her strength to free the god, and once free, Harpocrates showed them a memory of Apollo being horrible to him. It turns out that Harpocrates doesn't want to help them because he hates Apollo, and Reyna fought against this. She thought of a memory of the recent battle Camp Jupiter suffered, and both Reyna and Meg convinced Harpocrates that Apollo was a changed person through his trials. And it worked. Reyna and Meg then break Commodus and Caligula's fasces, and Harpocrates stopped fighting them. Harpocrates then sacrificed himself for the ritual they were going to do later, and they all went out of there. They were suddenly attacked by the ravens again, and Reyna got the worst of the injuries. Reyna broke her leg in the fight, and to escape, Meg made a beanstalk for them to get down, but this used too much of Meg's powers, and she passed out. Reyna and Apollo had to carry Meg to the car, and they sent a message to Frank about what happened. They then met Lavinia Asimov, a Roman who deserted them to escape the battle that was about to happen, and Reyna scolds her for it. Reyna then passes out because of some nature magic that Lavinia made to help Reyna rest in a room. And once Reyna wakes up, she gives her strength to Lavinia for the battle against Commodus and Caligula in camp. We meet Reyna again later on after the battle. Reyna was in crutches, and she talks to Apollo about Apollo's confession earlier. Reyna tells him that everyone in camp has been pressuring her to get together with someone, and Apollo's offer of a romantic relationship made her realize that she didn't want romance. Because of this, she resigns from her position as praetor and joins the Hunters of Artemis. Hazel Levesque, who wins the voting for the female praetor position, succeeds her, and Reyna becomes happy for her. The next day, Reyna said goodbye and left with Thalia and Grace to join the Hunters. And now, let's go to the Tower of Nero, the last book. Apollo gained his godhood back, and he visited Reyna, who was living in the way station with the Hunters and Leo. Reyna greets Apollo and tells him how much he's enjoying being a hunter, and later on in the book, she walks in on Leo and Apollo talking. Leo and Apollo were talking about Leo's relationship with Calypso, and Reyna tells Apollo that she'll help Leo cope with his break with Calypso. Leo didn't look too happy about it, and Reyna tells him to cheer up, and that Leo could be an idiot, but he had a heart of gold. And that's what we know about Reyna so far. Reyna has always been strong, powerful, and a bit intimidating to talk to. But once you get to know her, you learn that deep down, she's a very kind and loyal friend who will defend you against anything. Reyna also has the selflessness and the resilience of a Roman, and she'll do anything for the one she loves, which is why she along with Annabeth are two of my most favorite characters in the Riordanverse. So how about you? How do you find Reyna's choice of joining the Hunters? Let me know in the comments down below.